Spinagle here today at Mill Creek Intermediate. Join me today as we learn about some of the teachers here at the home of the Cardinals on this edition of Be the Difference, West Virginia. We're here with Bethany Sibole. She teaches 5th grade here at Mill Creek Intermediate. Hi Bethany, how are you this morning?
Good.
Well, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Martinsburg, went to Martinsburg High, graduated from there, went on to Shepherd College, which is now Shepherd University, and studied elementary education. Graduated from there, and I am also married. Today's actually my wedding anniversary, so it's a special day. And I have 2 children. I have a little boy and a little girl who both go to Berkeley County Schools.
Well, what made you decide to become a teacher?
Really 2 things led to me becoming a teacher. I guess the biggest thing was, even when I was little, I just enjoyed being around children and still do. I think I'm probably more comfortable around children than I am around adults. And it's just, so that just kind of led naturally to becoming a teacher. I knew I wanted to work with kids. And I guess I also wanted a job that kind of made me feel like I was making a difference. I knew that I wanted a job like that. And teaching definitely allows me to feel that. You know, each day I can go home and say that I made at least a little bit of a difference in some child's life that day.
Tell me about your classroom. What are some of the things that you do to help get your students excited about learning reading and math?
Okay. Well, as far as math, we do play a lot of math games. Our math series that we were working with this year, there are a lot of games that go along with it, and I would say we play a game at least every other day. I mean, it's just kind of like a natural end to the lesson. We'll finish, and it's a good review for the skill that we learned that day, but it's fun. And the kids also get just that little bit of time to kind of socialize too while they're playing the game. So that's kind of what we do with math. As far as reading's probably more my favorite subject, so it might be a little bit easier for me to get them excited about reading. I do read aloud to them every day. I try to take at least 15, maybe even 20 minutes a day to just read out loud, and that may not sound real exciting, but it's funny because I'll start to read and you can hear a pin drop. It's so quiet. And the kids do a little bit of reader's theater here and there. The kids like to get up and act. They love to act out stories, and sometimes they get tired of just sitting there and reading. So when they get to get up and move, it's a lot more fun for them.
One thing that you want your students to know by the end of the school year?
Well, I guess teaching 5th grade, I know that my students are going to go to middle school next year. So that's always a thought that's in the back of my mind. You know, I want to prepare them for middle school next year. And I guess the biggest thing is I want them to just feel confident in themselves. A lot of times they go over and they feel nervous. They're going to a new school, new teachers, new rules. I just want them to feel confident, and I want them to feel capable, to know that they will succeed. And as long as they give it 100% and try their best, that they'll do fine once they go to middle school.
How does your school day continue long after these students leave?
Well, I guess I would say even once the students leave the room, I'm still here in the classroom for maybe another hour or so, just kind of like straightening things up, grading papers if there's anything that needs to be graded, kind of getting lesson plans maybe ready for the next day, preparing materials for things that maybe we need for science or social studies. And even when I go home, a lot of times I'll have to bring things home. I'll bring papers home to grade, or more lesson plans to do. And even on the weekends, I spend a good bit of time just sitting down and getting things ready for the following week. A lot of planning goes into being a teacher.
Well, what do you feel is most important for those entering the profession to understand or know about what it's like to be a teacher?
The key word, I think, to being a good teacher is to be flexible. You definitely need to be flexible. There's so many things that get thrown at you in a day's time, and things don't always go the way you have them planned to go. You may have a really great lesson plan that you think is awesome, and the kids are going to love it, and then it flops, and they don't like it as much as you thought, and or just little things pop up that you weren't expecting, maybe an assembly you weren't planning for, and there goes your social studies lesson, and now you have to go to an assembly and make up for that the next day, and little things like that happen that that kind of, they don't ruin your day, but they just kind of chop it up a little bit, and you just have to be flexible and be able to kind of roll with the punches and deal with it.
What's one thing that you wish the public understood about the teaching profession?
Probably that teachers, I guess, play more than one role. Being in the classroom, it's not like I'm just standing up there teaching all day. We do a lot of other things too. I mean, we play a lot of other roles. I mean, we're nurses, we're coaches, we're mentors, we're referees sometimes. I mean, it just, whatever situation arises, we kind of have to, I guess, again, be flexible. We have to deal with it, and there's just a lot more to it than just standing in front of the room and teaching and that kind of thing. So.
We're here with Katrina Heath. She teaches 4th grade here at Mill Creek Intermediate. Hi, Katrina. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
Well, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been a teacher for 15 years. I started off in Virginia, but then came back to where I went to school in Berkeley County and started teaching here at Mill Creek. I have been married 24 years this year. Both my boys' sons are 10 and 13, and they both go to Berkeley County schools, which I'm quite proud of. I received my bachelor's in elementary education from Shepherd University, and I have a master's in business administration from Mountain State.
Well, what made you decide to become a teacher?
Can I say a lady's name?
Sure.
A lady's name, Linda Kelso, my most favorite teacher in the world, taught me to learn how to learn. She taught me that learning wasn't just about 3 times 3 and how to do cause and effect. It was how you can learn to love to learn and to absorb new information. And after my 5th grade year with her, I decided that that was something that I wanted to do also. And as a kid, all the kids like to be teachers. Well, I want to be a teacher, but she just inspired me tremendously.
Did you go into teaching right away?
No, I went to the military, actually. I was in the Air Force for 4 years. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, so I had to find a way to pay for college. And that's where I met my husband when we were both in the Air Force, and went to college, and the rest is history.
What do you enjoy most about working with intermediate grade students?
Oh. When they come to me, they're no longer learning to read, they're reading to learn. So you can take that into so many areas. You can do things with these, because the independency is there, but also the critical thinking is there. They've achieved that point where you could take a topic and really expand on it, as opposed to teaching them how to absorb the basics of the knowledge. You could really take it to new levels, and I love that. I love being able to have those aha moments.
Let's talk about your classroom. How do you get your students excited about learning?
Well, I'm quite animated a lot when I teach. I use voices. I'll do really ridiculous dances. We go out, when we did clouds, science class, everybody outside, now, everybody outside. Everybody outside, and what are we doing? I said, we're going to sing a song. They're like, what? We start singing this cloud song to the tune Farmer in the Dell. And then we looked at clouds, and then we analyzed them, and then I taught what they were. So it's all about getting them excited about it first, and then, well, actually, guys, you're looking at a cumulonimbus, or you're looking at, a cirrus cloud. Adjectives, English. English can be, to kids. Well, we did so many descriptive words. We walked all through this school, and we were describing doors and windows and lights and everything, and then I said, you guys just did adjectives. You just wrote 100 different adjectives. So in my class, I like to explore and discover first, and then get into what they actually were doing. And then they're like, wow, really? I have to come back to it now and then and say, okay, guys, what are we trying to describe here, and remind them. But at least they understand that when they went out and did that, they were using adjectives. So I try to use a lot of more discovery and silliness. Sometimes if math is getting a little on the, okay, we've been working hard. You can only answer now in a British accent. So they'll raise their hand, and then everybody wants to raise their hand and answer, even if they're wrong. But at least they're participating, they're alert, and they're paying attention.
What's an activity or lesson that you've done this year or recently that really engaged your students?
You know, it's funny when I think about the activities that I do, I think about, the ones that are fun, the ones that the kids will remember, but then I think the ones that brought the most emotion, good and bad emotion. And we were learning about the American Revolution, all the reasons that caused the American Revolution, and with King George and taxes. So I gave everybody 2 rolls of Smarties, and I assigned a student as a tax collector. And I told them, of course, if you're wearing this, you have to pay 2 Smarties. And the kids really started to question, okay, she has more Smarties than I do. It's because she had this than that. One young lady had on 10 bracelets, those little rubbery bracelets. And I said, okay, for every piece of jewelry, you have to put a Smartie in the bucket. You have to pay a tax. And she got real emotional. But she also sat there, and what I loved about this lesson was the kids started to get it. They were getting angry, they were getting upset, and they wanted a voice. Because we do a lot of voting in here anyway, on rewards and such. They wanted a voice in what they were going to pay taxes on, or what they were going to give Smarties for. They didn't get my point yet. We were getting there. And the one little girl raised her hand, and she had tears in her eyes, and she's like, I just don't understand why I have to pay because I had this many on. And that's when I said, okay, now think about the Stamp Act. Think about what we talked about with taxes. Every piece of paper that they purchased, they had to pay tax on. And I wish I could have videoed the look on her face. It was really everything, and they got it.
How are you involved in school activities or community activities outside of the traditional school day?
Well, I absolutely love our PTA. I'm huge with PTA. They're just amazing in this school. I was treasurer for 3 years, and then now I'm a delegate, and I volunteer at most every activity I can attend, even if my kids aren't my own sons aren't in the building. I just think it's so important for kids to see us there. I think it's important for me to see them with their families. And so I will make sure that I attend as many events as possible, volunteer my time, so I can share with them and build that connection. A lot of times that connection with students leaves when they leave the classroom. With me, it doesn't. I want to see them at all environments.
If you could change the public's mind about one misconception in education or the teaching profession, what would it be?
That I'm only a third of the puzzle. When it comes to a child's education, we have 3 parts: the parent, the teacher, and the student. If we don't work together, it's inevitable the child is going to not see education as something that's a priority. They need to have all parts of the puzzle to be able to make that child, treat the whole child. We're counselors, we're nurses, we're friends, we're teachers. We play many roles in the classroom. But when those children leave, they need to understand, the parent needs to understand that's not where their education stops. When they walk in their home, how was your day? What are you working on in class? Talk to them about it. No, don't just leave it all up to us. We only have them so much throughout the day. And being a third of a puzzle, you can't get it done with just a third. It has to be all 3 of us getting together.
That's all for this edition of Be the Difference West Virginia. Join me next time as we learn more about the teachers here in beautiful Berkeley County. Until then, I'm Erin Spindogel, reminding you to be different, but more importantly, be the difference. I'll see you soon.